Well, we broke the news about Congressman Corey Mills. If you paid attention to the show, this is not going to be news to you, Steve Baker. Matthew Peterson was kind enough to let me bring Steve Baker into the story once we got to the FBI parts. We were like, you know what? Steve Baker is the man to break all this down. And it was exactly the right call because, Steve, you have taken our story to levels that we never really thought were going to happen with the potential alleged, right? All the things that we need to say for legal rogue FBI agent here in this story. So go ahead and give everybody up to speed a little bit. And then you have some even new information since we last saw each other.
I mean, 3 weeks ago-ish, we broke a story about a alleged rogue FBI agent who was not only allegedly investigating our sources, or, well, okay, let me back up a little bit. According to our sources, this agent was investigating Corey Mills' alleged stolen valor issues. That's the way Shay D, Tally Bradley, we'll just call her Agent Shay D, had been.
I still can't believe that's her name.
That's actually her real name. And so Special Agent Shay D was positioning herself as investigating Corey Mills' alleged stolen valor issues, right? But it is a federal crime, actually, stolen valor. And so that seemed legitimate. And to our sources who had been working on this for some cases years, months and years, they'd been working on these in the background. These are citizen open source investigators, doing this thing because they care about it. They've got a background in the military. They care about stolen valor. They've been looking into this for a lot longer than we have. And what we discovered is that there was an agent investigating Corey Mills and obviously reaching out to these sources. That sounds all good. And to our sources, they thought this was fantastic. Finally, all this work we've been doing for so long is finally coming to fruition. It's the opposite of Reagan's, 9, scariest words in English language. I'm with the government and here to help. Right. Instead, I'm with the government and I'm here to help. And they're like going, thank God.
Someone's finally heard us. Finally. They've heard our cries.
And so they just started giving them everything. This agent, when I say them, this agent, Shay D. And so then it switched and she said, well, we're not really so much interested in stolen valor anymore. In fact, we're dropping that because there's no there. There's not enough information, proof there. There's enough plausible deniability. But what do you know about his business dealings? And it shifted. And all of a sudden our sources start going, wait a minute, what is this about? And that's when you guys brought me in somewhere in the middle of all of this. And so we started looking at the agent.
Yeah, and hold on, just before you go on, I mean, this is also true, like, up to this time, at some point, these sources told you, they told Jill, oh, there's an FBI agent involved here.
And they told me, oh, you actually have a ton of information about this guy that even we didn't know. I would love if we could just, pass your contact info along to this FBI agent. And I said, absolutely. That was March 31st. It was in text messages. I've turned them all over to Steve for his investigation now. And here we are.
So we start becoming suspicious that maybe Special Agent Shay D, former colonel in the Army, by the way, incidentally, was maybe not investigating Corey Mills, the congressman, but maybe was investigating not only what our sources knew about him, but also what we knew about him. When I say we, Blaze News, I might even just be implying somebody else at this table right now. We'll get to that in a moment. So the point being is that it became very curious and more curiouser as we began to look into this because on April 11th, one of our sources had a sit-down meeting with Agent Shay D at a Starbucks in Orlando.
Where all FBI agents just go to whole official meetings. Yeah.
Exactly. And
all on the up and up.
In which she not only told our source, we're no longer interested in stolen valor, but by the way, would you be interested in going undercover as a CHS, a confidential human source, for pay and investigating another lady involved in this.
Matt's not a lady. So
Matt's
it's me.
not a lady.
Another lady.
Peter Giedel,
Not
not
a
a lady.
He's not a lady.
No.
The only lady
See,
involved.
who else did we have on bylines? Oh, we had, well, the only other lady was Jade, our source, who was in the story.
Yeah.
And
That's who she was asking.
Who she's actually sitting down with. So
Yes.
Jade would not be investigating herself. And the only other option would be
Me.
Jill
It's
Savage, Blaze. And so now it's pretty much, game on for us. So, all right. So I'm going to do
That's the backstory.
I'm going to do
That's how we got
lightning
here.
round, the lightning round now. So now I think we actually have a public corruption issue. This is beyond a news story. I'm thinking that we actually have a potential crime being committed. Yeah. So I contacted the Tampa field office of the FBI, and I asked for a public corruption supervisory special agent, public corruption SSA.
I remember this, and this was
Weeks
a while ago. Yeah.
A month ago.
Yeah.
They denied that. They just would not hand me over to anyone. Great, so I'll go to national. I went to the national office of the FBI, national intake, and I called them, and I went through all the processes. And of course, when you give the name Stephen Baker, other things come up on their screen, but that's another story. And so they're worried about. So when I asked for
See our previous segment.
right. yeah. So when I asked for a public
see our previous segment, yes.
So when I asked for a public corruption SSA at national, they said to me, "Okay, we've got all your information. We might." Literally said might have somebody get back to you. I waited 2 days.
Right.
I'm a resident of North Carolina. Well, my field office of the FBI is in Charlotte, North Carolina. So as a resident of North Carolina, I am trying to report a crime. And by the way, I'm identifying myself on each one of these steps as my name is Steve Baker, Blaze Media Journalist. I'm not calling for a public affairs official. I'm not calling to get information or a statement. I'm calling to report a potential crime. I call the Charlotte field office, would not give me to anybody. In fact, the Charlotte field office, all of their phone numbers relayed me back to national intake. Through our sources, I was able to get the actual public corruptions SSA's name in Charlotte. I called back to national intake in DC and said, I need you to put me on the phone with this guy. Named his name, and they transferred me back to Charlotte to his phone. Nobody answered. Got an operator. They took my information and said, okay, all right, well, I'll get back to you. Never did. So Thursday now it's been 4 weeks ago, I wake up and I'm just PO'd. And so in this phone, previous to him becoming the director of the FBI, I'd been introduced to Kash Patel by Glenn Beck. We exchanged phone numbers. I also had his personal assistant's phone number. And I composed a very short but concise and descriptive text of what we were going through and that I needed to report a potential public corruption issue of one of their agents, possibly breaking the law. Many laws, by the way, in this process of this investigation. And so within seconds, I had a call back. And for the next 2 days, 2 full business days, Thursday and Friday, 4 weeks ago, they were relaying to me what the ongoing process as they began to investigate this internally. Now, I'm talking to the 7th floor of the Hoover Building. This is national headquarters of the FBI. I'm not talking to some public affairs official in Tampa. I'm actually communicating directly to where I'm being told. I'm being told specifically that Kash Patel has been notified. I've been told that this has been placed on Dan Bongino's desk. I have been told now on Friday of that week, I've been told that this has been elevated to, this is their quote, elevated to general counsel. All right. Now, during this entire time, they are literal keystrokes away from being able to look up and see if there's a open case file number on either Agent Shady investigating the congressman or investigating our sources or investigating you or Blaze Media. And
they didn't find anything.
They didn't find anything. In fact, what happened by close of business on Friday, after 2 full days of investigation, they came back and gave us what all of our sources, and look, when I say all of our FBI sources, it's not just our whistleblower friends, which are
we have a lot
are
of
legion,
FBI sources.
Yeah.
but we have sources currently employed with the FBI. We have sources that are retired from the FBI, multiple. They all came back to me after I read this statement from them, and they were like, "Wow, just wow." We've never seen the FBI say anything other than we can't comment on an ongoing investigation.
They're saying we don't know of this investigation.
That's what they
and
told
we're
us.
going to look into this.
They said, we have no knowledge of this.
Yeah.
Out of the blue, Joe Hanneman, my partner in crime at the Blaze, he sends me a message and says, I just got an email from the FBI about the Agent Shady Tally Bradley. He goes, so I went and looked in mine, and sure enough, they had copied both of us. So this is an email from the Tampa field office. Good morning. The FBI Tampa Public Affairs Office saw the recent article referencing Special Agent Shay Tally Bradley. We have no record of Blaze Media contacting our Public Affairs Office for a statement. Well, no duh. I didn't contact their Public Affairs Office. I contacted for a public corruption SSA.
And remind me, did they call you back?
No.
Oh, that's right.
They never
that's
did.
Right.
And you asked her a few questions.
Right. I did actually contact. Actually, we very politely ambushed Agent Shady Tally Bradley at a Memorial Day event outside of in a suburb of Orlando. So we did do that. To which she said, "I have no idea what you're talking about," over and over and over again. And so remember, in the first paragraph of this letter from the FBI, they said. We saw the recent article, all right? Second paragraph. As a matter of longstanding policy, the FBI does not confirm or deny the existence of any investigations or FBI matters. The FBI does not release investigation details related to tips or leads. However, we can confirm that information received from the public is reviewed and vetted. Now, this is coming from Tampa. Now, remember, I've handled this at D.C. level, top floor of the Hoover Building. Not with Tampa field office. Finally, they said any further media inquiries must be directed to the FBI National Press Office. Like what?
We skipped a couple steps from Tampa. We went straight up to them. We've already done that.
You said you read the article. This email is referencing our article.
Right.
If you had read the article, you know that I got our statement from Hoover Building, D.C.
We got a statement. Floor. So we got a statement from the top. So is this just like dumb stuff, or is this like a CYA thing going on, or like what do we make of this?
So as we mentioned before, we do have our sources. So we've run this by our sources, and the hilarity, right? We're talking about sarcasm after criticism, and basically what they're saying is it could be either or what you just said. Either this is a CYA issue, or they're looking at us and going, okay, media, this is who we are, and this is all you are.